reaches down and pokes it to left. That is big-time strength, and that is a big-time play by Riley Green. He robbed Crone of a homer.
It might just be summer camp, but boy, is that Riley Green dreaming. And boy, is our next guest dreaming as well. The legendary Anthony Fenech. My guy, one of my favorite people. You tweeted this and wrote about it yesterday. Boy, is Riley Green dreaming. And for many right reasons, you are correct, my friend.
Dan the man, it's good to see you again. Yeah, watching this catch, it's a great replay. I saw it from the first base side. And I think that was a great call by Shep, by the way. That was a good call. Shep in midseason form here in inter squads. But I think the first thing that was crazy to me is how CJ Crone even hit that ball. Like, he just threw his bat at it and it went over the fence. But yes, an outstanding catch. And yes, Riley Green is very dreamy. Very dreamy. I mean, he's really I haven't really seen him, Dan, that much until this camp, but very impressive so far.
Can't watch that enough. And there's so much to get you with. First off, welcome in. You and I have always had
my task force debut.
It's your task, and I know Derry, our good friend Matt Derry, always wants to have the second highest rated show after my porn star friend Kendra lost. You might have the second one, so Derry can't get mad. There's so much I want to get to you with.
Am I good? All right, cool.
You look great. You look great.
The hair looks great. My den. We'll call it a den. No, let's call it an office. It's not a den. Dens are they're like mahogany, and this ain't mahogany.
It's the Fenech Inn. Now, a couple things I want to get off to are welcome to the task force. Of course, Anthony Fenech, beat writer, Tigers for the Freedom. I'm Dan Leach. Brand new. I did this for you. The debut of the task force Twitter handle at Leach Task Force. So follow that. I did it just for Anthony's show tonight. But I got to check in with you before we get into anything and ask you how you're doing. Did you ever expect to cover sports during a pandemic? And then I got to ask you what it's been like to cover summer camp with all those kind of crazy regulations. How are you, first off, doing yourself? You look great.
Good. I mean, it's gone really well. And I think that, I get on them a lot, but the Tigers have done a very good job with this. Did I ever think I was going to be covering sports during a pandemic? No. I didn't even think we were ever going to have a pandemic in 2020, but it's not surprising that they got things going. I still think that there's a long way to go. But honestly, from this point, at this point in spring training, personally, I'm more optimistic that they're going to get further than I thought they would be than I was at the beginning. Now, again, with everything, with the way everything's going and the uptake in cases and stuff, we'll see. But it's been good. It's been different because, again, there's only one field at Comerica Park, and you go there and you have to fill out a form, like a clearance form, let's say. You have to get your temperature taken. You're in the press box. You have to social distance. You have to wear a mask.
Gotta wear the mask
all the time. But I think something that the Tigers are doing that's really good, and all teams have outdoor seating, let's say, but they have us in the Tiger Den, which it's down on the field. I think the acoustics. Now, can I take this off? Am I good? Are we
totally good. It's very fashionable. I'm not surprised you have a fashionable mask.
So we're done. I think the acoustics of baseball with no fans in the stands, I think it's awesome. But it's just different because all of our conversations are like we're having right now. And generally speaking, I love seeing your beautiful face, first off. Usually we're talking on the radio, but there's no – it's a lot different. It's a lot different, but – it is what it is. It's good to get out of this house here.
Well, and that's for sure. And listen, I've someone, Anthony, and I've said this for ever since I started the show, going back to when I knew things were going to hell. I was in the Rudy Gobert game at LCA, and I knew that we were going to shut things down and that sports would take a big hit. Let me know where you're at, because this is where I've been at. And boy, I hope I'm wrong. And you know me, we always end our interviews with smiles because we love life, and this is such a fun thing to cover. And obviously you work your ass off, but it's very rewarding and fun to do what you do as well. I hope I'm wrong, and I'm very positive, and I want the best. I don't see baseball finishing. Do you see it for sure starting? And we're 10 days away. Do you see it finishing as well?
In my mind, yeah, I see it for sure starting. I think they had that hiccup early, but I think that was expected. I do still think that there are hurdles because some teams are, I think there's more, how do I say it, testing issues than are being reported. Okay.
Sure.
Because there have been certain teams that have been more vocal. All right. But I think some teams don't want to be vocal because they don't want to create this kind of concern. So yes, I do think that they're going to start the season. I don't know. I don't have a coin here. I don't have any more props. All I have is my math. Coin flip for the end of the season. Seriously. I don't know. I can't tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, we know there's a lot of moving parts, but we know we need sports. And believe me, as you mentioned, covering summer camp, I mean, the fact that you're covering a summer camp at Comerica Park is pretty freaking awesome.
I'm running out of days here. I'm trying to have a day. Today was Don Kelly, which was wear your mask and be a good person day.
Yes.
But I'm running out of days here. Summer camp.
Summer camp. I used to love going to my
spring training is way better than summer camp. You know why? Because when we're in spring training, it's 20 degrees up here, all right? And it's 80 degrees down here. Now we get there and there's no air conditioning in the press box because they have to have like the air coming in and out, all right? And it's 95 degrees.
That camp, it's different. It's definitely different. Well, let's talk about this team. And just for, blanks and giggles, they are 750 to 1 to win the World Series. But in a 60-game season, who the hell knows?
750 to 1.
750 to 1. And that might change closer to the season. But them and the Marlins and some other teams, giving them no chance. But with 60 games, A-Train, anything can happen, can it? Is there any chance they start well and, in a shortened season have at least a chance to sneak into a playoff spot? Or is that total crazy leech talk?
There is absolutely a chance. Okay. I cannot dispute that. All right. I think it'd be a hot take to say that there isn't a chance. In my heart of hearts, do I think that there's a chance? No, not really. I just, I just don't. This isn't their year. And I think that problems could arise from them thinking that it's their year. And I don't think they think it's their year either, okay? But I will say this, that again, it's only 60 games. If this was a 162-game season, you're right. I mean, I think this team over the 60-game stretch should do better than it would over a 162-game stretch, just the way that they're at, right, where they're at.
Right.
But that being said, again, it's not the time. I can see how if every single thing went right, but gosh, even then, are you one of the better teams in the American League? Because I don't think so. I just don't. I think one thing that would have really changed the calculus of this is if they would have expanded the playoffs. But playoffs, talking about but I just no, not this year. And I understand. But I will say I will coat that all with this. It's much more exciting, all right, and it's noticeable because you have guys like Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green and Casey Mize, who's inching closer to making the team, and Matt Manning, and you have them all at Comerica Park. And at this point in a normal season, you probably wouldn't have had them at Comerica Park. Okay, they would have maybe even been AAA, wherever. All right, but they're here, and when you see Riley Green making a catch in left field like that, it's like, okay, I can see that, I can dream about that. But no, I don't think this is the year. No.
Well, we got Anthony. You bring out the big guns when you come on the show. We had our first celebrity shout out, Matt Derry, the Diesel. Shout out to the wild hair guest of yours, DT. I love you both. We always love when the Diesel's on the task force.
Hey, I had to tell him I had to put the hat on because my hair was so wild.
I thought you looked great without the hat. Show the people the hair.
The hair.
Look at that. That's solid.
Yeah, it's long. It's long, but yeah.
We love the Diesel, though. That's for sure. Let's talk about some of those guys that you just mentioned, and you and I talked about them many times last year. Obviously, not Torkelson until he got drafted, but specifically Casey Mize. 60-game year. I understand the whole. You don't want to start the clock, but what are the chances he's a regular this year? What do you see from him, having watched this summer camp so far? Where is his ceiling this season?
I wrote about this in tomorrow's Free Press, which you can pick up for, I don't know, what is it, $1.50 now?
I think
Or you could access it online for free. You can just go there and click on it.
Or you can just go to Anthony's Twitter and read everything on.
Yeah. Either way, I think with the state of the rotation right now, you have Boyd, Turnbull, Zimmerman, Nova. Then you have an open spot because, look, Daniel Norris, he's on the injured list right now, okay? And there's an open spot. And so I think that spot's going to – I think Tyler Alexander at this point is the front runner for that spot because they've liked what he's done like last year. He's still young enough. He's got a little bit of upside, but he showed he can pitch. I like Tyler Alexander. So I think that the way we saw Fulmer yesterday, gosh, you just keep scrolling through my tweets.
I love this one. Live batting practices ended. The Tigers won.
That was a good one. I kind of came up with that on the fly. You wouldn't imagine one of the more difficult parts of this job, Dan, is after all these losses for the last 3 years, I'm trying to do like a, how do I say it, a unique one-liner, you know?
Yeah.
I know they don't get off line, but whatever. Anyways, I think right now they're leaning towards going with Alexander in that 5th spot and then Fulmer afterwards, just because Fulmer's command's not there just yet, all right? And they can control him a little bit more. If you put Fulmer out there against a major league team and he has an inning like he did yesterday in inter-squad, you could lose the game in that inning, and it could also put your bullpen back for a few days. I mean, more than a few days now in this shortened season. So that's the way I think they're going to go. All right, but that's not what you asked me. You asked me about Casey Mize.
Well, you wanted to talk about Casey Mize. I'm just teeing him up for you.
Yeah. I've been very impressed with him. And just again, we're watching from the stands, and we don't really have access to the kind of people that we would have access to in the clubhouse. He was kind of not shaky. You could just tell he was amped up in his first live bullpen or live batting practice because he couldn't find the strike zone and he throws strikes. He looked amazing in his last inter-squad game. He looked good today. In terms of service time, they're not going to do anything where they can burn a full year of service with Mize this season, but because it's prorated 60 games, it could be as soon as the third week of the season. So I think Rhett Mize could be a regular. Yeah, I do. I mean, he was sitting 95 with his fastball. He's just very polished. He knows how to pitch, and he's advanced on that end. I guess, one sec. Can I do a little bit of interactive here? I sent this to a scout earlier today, okay, because he was kind of asking me about what's going on in camp. And I said this quote from manager Ron Gardenhire. Yeah, I'd like to have him right now, but we know the protocol. We know what we're trying to do here and step by step, but I just think he's very poised and he knows what he needs to do and what he wants to do. It's fun watching him pitch. He's in control, blah, blah, blah. So he's moving really quick, and for me, it can't be quick enough. I like him a lot. To me, that says a lot. So I think the Tigers want him up. I just don't know if there's any – he can develop. He's at that point where there's not much more development. With a guy like Matt Manning, I think there's more development they can get to with the taxi squad on the side. I think Mize will be up fairly soon. That's do you
think that, pitching in the big games in college at the end and obviously, being a number one type pick, do you think that the maturity is going to be part of that will make him capable of being called on now?
But it's not emotion. It's not like mental maturity. It's pitching maturity.
Right. That's what I mean.
He knows what he's doing. I don't know if it's necessarily because of the big games, but he's very in tune with analytics. And he's not just like a kind of a stat head. He's very conscious of it. He's kind of a pitching rat. And from that perspective, I definitely think he's ready.
All right. I got some viewer questions for you in just one second, but when we bring out the big gun guests, we have to bring out the big gun sponsors on the task force here. And I want to talk about our great friends at Michigan's finest.
Flexing my gun right here for the big gun guest.
Let me throw you on there. Look at that. Look at that.
The big gun guest.
You're in way better shape than I am. But Anthony, I don't know if you partake in this, but our good friends at Michigan's Finest Cannabis Company, they just opened on July 10th. They literally just opened. And you can get actually, I'll do that in 1 second. I'm still learning the software. They have a great special for you. It's a great promo code. They're in Wayne, Michigan on Van Born Road. Use the promo code DTM420, and you get online or in store, you get any purchase 10% off. Follow them on Twitter at Finest Michigan. All their particulars are there. And people have asked me, Leach, you're 9 years sober. You talk about it all the time. You try to help and save people. It's funny. I was playing golf with Darren McCarty today, and Darren McCarty, beat alcoholism. I mean, it's an everyday thing, but did it by cannabis. And their mission is to get people off opiates and help people, obviously, with the CBD and all the other things that can really make a difference in people's lives. That's why I'm involved with them. Doug and Scott do a great job. Follow them on Twitter at Finest Michigan. Follow them on Instagram as well at MIL Finest. And use that DTM420 promo code because they're going to give you 10% off. They're very supportive of this show, and I really appreciate them. I want to get the people out there. They just opened up, and they're doing it like gangbusters. So there you go. As I said, Anthony, big guest, big sponsor. I only do them one a week, and I pick you.
There we go. DTM 420. I have it written down.
Yes, they got great stuff there. I'm going to take you by there someday. Speaking of that, just a random question. We know that marijuana is legal now. Do you think that baseball is ever going to allow it?
Yes.
Because that's what my thought is too.
Yes, I do. Yeah, with the way things are going, yeah, I do.
All right, well, I got some viewer questions for you. Here's our good friend Jim Kennedy, JFK, saying, hey, guys, which prospect do you think has the best chance to make the Tigers roster for what we've seen in spring training 2.0ers? I love how you call it summer camp.
I mean, I guess Casey Mize. No. Let me. Look. I don't want to be. We got the list here. I'm trying to work out the roster.
Show us that list.
Maybe. No, come on, I can't give you the secret sauce here on the task force. You know how many people are watching the task force?
Thousands.
Maybe Nolan Blackwood. If you say that he's a prospect. They got him in the Mike Fiers deal. He's a different look righty, side armor. Maybe him. Again, I don't think Casey Mize has – I think he's going to pitch good enough to make the team out of summer camp, but I don't think he's going to because of the rosters. But Nolan Blackwood, maybe that would be my prediction.
I like it. How about this from Jason Brown? He asks you, do you see any trades happening in 2020? Seems like there's an abundance of pitching and not much hitting. And is there a trade deadline? I forgot. How does that even work?
Put me on the spot here.
I don't know either. Trust me, I don't think anybody knows.
Trade deadline. I'm not quite sure when it is, Mr. Baseball Writer, but I think it's going to be very difficult. And somebody told me a couple weeks ago, like, is there really even going to be any baseball trades this year because of all the uncertainty and the shortened season? And, what if the season gets canceled after the trade deadline? So the trade market traditionally the last 3 or 4 years has been pretty bad. I'm down on the trade market.
Yeah, the Tigers don't necessarily need to make it a shortened season. One more here from Erwin Fletcher. What would suck more, Indians haven't won since 54 or the Astros winning this year? Cheating bastards. And by the way, you know what's funny, Anthony? The Astros, obviously, they were the forefront of sports. People were just destroying them until COVID hit. Are they going to get cover from a pandemic, or is it going to come back when baseball starts? All the ire against them.
As you know, I have previous history with the Astros.
Oh, yes, you do.
I don't want to come off as biased in this regard. Yes, I think that, for sure, this whole worldwide pandemic and the 3-month layoff certainly provided them cover, 100%. I think the Astros are fraudulent. I don't think everything has come out about them, and I am not a huge fan of the organization. Let's leave it at that, TTM.
I've never heard you say that before. What are you talking about? All right, I do want to take a look at this guy, and you've mentioned him a couple times, but I think that obviously everyone that's watching and Tigers fans everywhere can simply not get enough of this guy. I mean, we know that prospects can be looked at, Anthony, that they're a dime a dozen, but this guy, the torque, with torque in his swing, just how good is he the best prospect since, who would you say? The best prospect since who?
I don't know. I mean,
Trout?
that's Since who?
Mike Trout?
No. See, no. Now we're
I
talking
know,
about
I'm
Mike
getting a little
Trout.
crazy.
DTM, Mike Trout is going to go down. If he keeps doing what he's doing in his career, at the end of his career, we're going to look at his baseball reference card, and it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be otherworldly. But I know what you're saying.
Right, but before he did that, he was a prospect. He hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah, but I guess to me the optimism with the Tigers is that when you want to get to that level and be a World Series team, you got to have 5-6 of these guys, and Torkelson is just one of them. Is he better prospect than Matt Manning? I mean, maybe, but my gosh, I look at Matt Manning and I'm just like, oh my gosh, he could be like so good. I think Torkelson's exactly what the Tigers needed. We saw him take batting practice. He hits. I think what stood out to me in just one batting practice session was that he's more of a hitter, than I think everybody just thinks he drops bombs he's just like a Mark Trumbo. I don't think that's the case at all. But I will say this to throw some cold water. I have a reputation of cold DTM. He looks overmatched right now for sure, and this isn't necessarily to his fault. I mean, we're talking about the last pitching he saw live was in college, and now he's on the 60-man roster facing guys like Hector Santiago and Casey Mize today. I mean, like, it's a different level of pitching, and these highlights you're showing, which are very nice, but those are in college,
Sure.
I don't really have any concerns with Torkelson, but I mean, I just think he fits perfectly, and you see wherever he plays. I know I've been very critical of their decision, and I haven't been critical. I just thought it was stupid and it needed to be pointed out. But he's going to play into the Tigers' future in a big way because of the bat. All right, and I definitely foresee a scenario in which all he needs is 250 minor league at bats, and let's say it's this time next season, the Tigers are 2 games over 500. Torkelson, you know what I mean? Like that's to me where the positivity comes from. It could be right around the corner.
So you just answered my question. I was going to ask you, the kid's 20 years old. Is there a chance? We know this year's nuts, but is there a chance he's on the roster next season? You're saying basically yes.
Yeah, I don't think you can put. Yeah, I think there's a chance of that. Yeah, because once the guys like Mize and Manning start coming up, it's going to be the wave's going to start coming. There's no reason to hold a guy like Torkelson if he's ready back at that point. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I do think there's a possibility next year.
Let's talk about this. And it's always the best to have Anthony Fenech on, whether it's my show on 97.1 or here. It's great to be able to see you on video. This is the future, by the way. It's the future.
Yeah, but it's not great. I was telling you, like with all the zooms, a weird thing is it's like, our eyes are trained to look at. I'm looking at me right now. I'm looking at you.
I know.
Look at the camera. Like, anyways.
I think you're doing great, but you always do. But this is the thing that I think I've gotten from a lot of different people, and you and I have talked about this many times. And you know me, I'm definitely silver linings and rainbows and unicorns, but that's just who I am. And you always bring me and you ground me because you're there every day and you kill it at what you do, and you have the way more info than I can ever imagine.
Everybody, but I'm just a jerk.
No, you're not. No. You're one of my favorite guys. But let's get back into this because I haven't asked you this since obviously last season or winter meetings before COVID. When you look at 2021, when you look at 2022, when you look at the Riley Greens and the Spencer Torkelsons and the Mannings and the Mizes and all these players, and we know it worked with the Astros. We know it worked with the Royals. We know it worked with the Cubs. It works for teams that, were crappy for a while and then started winning World Series. Can the Tigers, I guess I'll just cut it off in the past. I know the Tigers can be that team. What chance do you believe they will be that team?
In terms of what? This being a success?
In the next 2 or 3 years, them being a true contender to win a World Series, not the division, not a playoff, wild card team.
Yeah. Honestly, Dan, from the last time we talked was probably at the winter meetings. I think it looked a lot more bleak at the winter meetings. I'm not going to lie. I think that now you have Torkelson in the fold. It's only 60 games. All right. You're right there. You don't have to go through a whole nother season of 100 losses, which you might have gone through. Either way, good or bad. It's right there. I'm much more. I'm serious. I'm much more optimistic 6 months later. And maybe I should have had that foresight. But I do still think that they're building around starting pitching. It's very risky. What's going to happen when one of these guys gets hurt? The whole situation is, not concerning, but nobody knows how it's going to go. And again, I think everyone needs to know that while Casey Mize, Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, all these guys, Matt Manning, talking behind the bullpen cage today, while that's all exciting, probably all three are not going to pan out like completely as studs,
Doesn't work yet. It never works that way, really.
But I'm much more optimistic. I think that they've had a couple good drafts. I do think they have a lot of starting pitching in all different facets, okay? Whether it be the top prospects, whether it be guys like Spencer Turnbull, even a guy like Daniel Norris could put together, and I don't know where he's at right now, but in terms of putting together a season that could be tradable, let's say, and then Michael Fulmer. So I think they're in a much better spot. So I'll say, I don't think it's very hard to envision that. I don't think it's very hard to envision and it's going to happen. Trust me. I know, if the Tigers were to be 2 games over 500 at this point, July 14th next season, which is essentially the All-Star break, this place is going to be crazy. And it would not surprise me whatsoever if that happened next year.
No, you said that perfectly. I mean, that's kind of.
But I will say this because I've been very nice, and I've been very nice. I haven't been negative enough. The Tigers still have to show that they can put the cherry on top. Okay,
right.
They've had a
difference
before in 2016, and they signed some not good contracts. So, but yes is the answer to that question.
All right, here's one from Jason Brown. He wants to know, and he ended up spelling the Griner's name correctly there. Starting catcher, Romine, Griner, Jake the Snake Rogers.
Romine. I think it's going to go Romine, Griner. I don't know. I mean, Jake Rogers has looked really good, but I know that their plan was to kind of keep him in AAA this year if it was a full season. But he's looked really good, and he still is kind of a future kind of guy. So I don't know, but I know that oh my gosh, I've been saying it. So the virtual Tigers Dan that I've been doing on free Twitch,
which has been awesome.
Free Sports, I always say Austin, don't call him Andrew, and then the first time I reference him on the task force, I say it's Austin or Andrew. Blah blah blah. Romine's going to be their starting catcher. I think they want Rogers to get playing time over anything. So I'm leaning towards Romine and Griner. I like Haas too, though.
Hey, listen, it's good to have options. Let's take a look at this. I mean, I think the most.
I like everybody.
Know. Well, you said you're not being negative. I love it. It's like a brand new Anthony Fenech. Let's take a look at the roster. I think most people know who's on it right now, but maybe there's some that are just looking at it for the first time and just getting excited about baseball. When you look at this roster, is there someone that, and I know it's a summer camp and pitching and batting against each other, but you're very perceptive when it comes to things you see.
Funny.
Yes, well, you're almost as handsome as I am. When you look at this roster, is there a player that the fans aren't talking about enough? I know you've written about a lot of these guys, but who's the guy or two that when you look up and down this roster could be that X factor where, let's say, the Tigers, who are 750-1 to win the World Series, but it's a 60-game season, maybe they help them get to a 500 start through 30 games, and all of a sudden the Tigers at least have a chance.
Yeah.
Is there a guy or two people aren't talking about, but you think we should be?
That's a good question. That's a really good question, and I thought of it.
Thank you. That's why I can pay the moderate bucks.
Through it. Keep going. All right. I guess I'd go with two guys. First is Turnbull. He's bigger. He just seems like Spencer Turnbull's not like a wild and crazy kind of guy. But it seemed like he acknowledged he was a little bit introspective and kind of going through his offseason. And it seems like he knows that there's more in the tank. And he went to find it. And he seems like in a better mind frame, let's say. I think Turnbull's good. I don't think Turnbull should be slept on.
I think
And
he's
it
the real
goes to the
deal.
Tigers starting pitching, huh?
I think he's the real deal, Anthony. I really do.
And then the second guy would be Stewart. Stewart struggled in the spring, and they were going to bring him up on the team for opening day if there was like a real opening day.
Right.
But I think that this break really helped him, and he looks hungry. He's even doing things like putting bunt singles down, like against a shift. I just think that with a guy like that, when you're a young player, remember they kept him down in the minor leagues for a while, and he kept having these like 25 home run seasons, and I think that frustrated him. So I think that as a young player, he's a little bit more concerned with, oh my gosh, is this my only chance? Like I think taking a step back from that spring was good for him. So I think Stewart and Turnbull, and I know those aren't like out of the box, but those two guys, I think, keep your eye on.
See, look, this is what happens when I bring you on my show. Jason Brown says the task force gets better every week.
Thank you, Jason.
When does it end? It's never going to end. And that's why we have people like Anthony on that are trying to give us their time. And Anthony, I can talk to you forever. As I said many times, you're one of my favorite guys. But, one of the things that I think a lot of people want to know about, and you have great perspective on this, as you do with this whole team, is Ron Gardenhire. And we've talked about this on 97.1 a lot. I think Ron Gardenhire is a really good manager. I think that Ron Gardenhire, you can only expect him to do so much with the team he's given, much like Blashill with the Red Wings. Is Ron Gardenhire, from what you've seen, now it's year 3, right? This will be year 3. And I know it's a weird year, right? Year 3. Is he the guy that could lead this team through the rebuild?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, for sure. I think some perspective has to be placed. And I think that in this industry, it's really easy especially in these settings that we saw Ron earlier, last couple of seasons in terms of, media availability in his office and stuff like that. He's a cool guy. He gets it. All right. But I think more than that, he's a leader, and the players play hard for him, and he's got structure, but above all that, he's respected. Okay. He's respected. I would love to get to a point where I'm actually criticizing Ron Gardenhire for a move, because there haven't been any, many games and moments that really have mattered over the last few years. But yeah, I really don't see why not. I think if there's a silver lining to this, Dan, it's that this season was only 60 games, because I think you have an experienced coaching staff there, who you might say is old school in nature, that I don't know if they could have handled another season of 110 losses. I don't know if Ron Gardenhire could have handled that. And I don't think that the front office put them in the, I think they hung them out to dry a little bit the last couple of years, but I think they also knew that coming into it. And I think it's good that, look, they were brought back for this season. And I think we're in a position now where, what can Ron Gardenhire and his staff do over 60 games, to not bring them back? You know what I'm saying? So I'm aware of what the coaching staff goes through on a daily basis. I have high respect for those guys. And again, in this situation, we're a little bit closer, at least we were in the past, to the manager. And I think it has to be pointed out that sometimes that might cloud your judgment a little bit, okay, when critically analyzing somebody. And I also think it needs to be pointed out that as the beat writer for the team, that's not really sometimes our place to do that. But again, I have been a big fan. I think Ron Gardenhire is a good manager, and I think baseball needs more managers like that. I'm not just talking about, going out, getting thrown out of games. I just think he commands respect and he knows the game. And yes, I do think he can be that guy for sure.
Well said, my friend. All right, let's take a look quickly at the schedule here. So weird that we're starting on July 24th. By the way, how is that going to work? With I know that I had Shep on last week, and he didn't know yet if he was traveling. I would guess you're the beat writer. You got to travel, right?
I don't know yet. I really don't know yet.
No decisions?
I haven't decided. To be honest with you, I don't really want to go stay in hotels right now.
I wouldn't either if I were you. You can cover remotely. It won't be the same, but you can cover remotely.
Yeah, it kind of creeps me out, and there's no access, so I don't know.
Yeah, isn't it, from what I've been told, and I know we just got our thing for the ticket, 35 credentials total per team?
Yes, like I believe so, yes.
And you have to sit in the stands. You can't sit in the press box. But
no, you can't sit in the press box, I believe, but you always got to wear a mask and all that stuff.
Right. Anything that excites you about this schedule? I mean, Cincinnati sucks.
No,
but
absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
The Reds 6 games, the Royals, the Cardinals should be fun. Pittsburgh will be interesting.
I do not mean. I don't mean to deflect your question, but I'm just.
Oh no, it's okay.
There's nothing that excites me about this schedule except potentially, and here's the negative Nancy in me again, but except potentially see Nick Castellanos hit like 4 home runs in that first series because I think that would be not fun, but I think that'd be interesting to see, given the fact that the Tigers wanted no part of it.
Right. You know what that schedule says to me? Once again, kind of how we opened the show with, that I'm not expecting much from the Tigers this year, but it's 60 games and they're playing a bunch of AL Central teams, and the AL Central is not that good.
Yeah, and NL Central teams, but I do think it'll be interesting. It'll keep the fans involved for a little bit because, again, like, what if they start out 10-8? Well, that's a third of the season. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Everything is different now. All the marks are different.
Thirsty.
Yeah, I got a Slurpee for you. All right, well, listen. Couple more things we're gonna get right into angling with Anthony, which I think is gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. But I do want to mention, I don't know if are you a horse racing guy, Anthony?
No.
I didn't think so.
I just not now.
I still want you to watch this though, because tomorrow, our great sponsor, Amwager, you get them at amwager.com, we have got a special Task Force horse racing show. We're gonna go over all the betting, all the different angles, the ways to beat favorites, the ways to make money, unlimited, money betting. You bet $5, win $300. And they're doing a special Task Force only promo until Sunday, where if you put in Task Force when you sign up, you get $10 free, no deposit needed, whatever you want to do with it. But also, whether you win or lose the $10, you can deposit anywhere between $10 and $100, and they're going to match the bonus. So if you put in 50, which is a lot for Anthony and me, but we can do like 20, they'll give you whatever you put in. 50, you get 50. 80, you get 80. So check that out. Task Force, use the bonus. Free $10. We have a special horse racing show coming up tomorrow night. We love Amwager. They're one of our favorite new sponsors, so really glad to have them involved. Anthony, maybe I can get you to be involved with the ponies.
Well, I just want to reiterate there is 2 promo codes. The first one is DTM420, and the second one is Task Force.
I love you. I really do. All right, I thought we could have some fun before we go. Thanks so much, Anthony. I can talk to you forever.
No, it's fun.
We have an interesting house item before we go as well. But I wanted to do a little rapid fire with you because I think that a lot of people obviously know and really respect and appreciate your work. Maybe they don't know as much about you personally. So first, before I ask you some rapid fire questions,
Gary, I'm getting nervous.
No, you would never have to be nervous with me. Have I ever let you down before?
No, absolutely not. DTM.
And I always end you out with a smile. You're always so kind at the end of the interviews. You say, I have the most fun with you. That means the world to me because that's the way it's supposed to be done. And I'm not just saying about me, with anybody in broadcast.
No, it's just fun.
But let me ask you this. Tell everyone kind of what you're a little bit like a kind of a dime store history of where you were born, how you got involved in the business, and what it was like when you became a Tigers beat writer, which, let's be honest, when you are the beat writer for a Major League Baseball team that has been around since Abner Doubleday in the 1850s, that's a big freaking deal. So what was that whole, kind of jaunt from the beginning to that, and what did it feel like when you were named the beat writer?
I grew up in Woodhaven, Michigan.
The Woodhaven Nuts. That's by the way, a poker hand. It's 10-8. So next time you play with me and Tony Paul and the guys, I met a guy in the casino who said the Woodhaven Nuts is 10-8 offsuit.
Let me write that down too.
Write it down. He said that a guy in Woodhaven at some, I think it was a home game, won like $15,000 on 10-8. The Woodhaven Nuts.
I grew up in the streets of Woodhaven. And I went to college, and then I started doing high school stuff at the Free Press. Just kind of answering the phone. Hey, what's the score of the game? Wind out Roosevelt 17. And then I started doing live blogs. And at the beginning, think about this, DTM. At the beginning, we used to do like send in a paragraph or two of content for an inning, and they used to post it. This was during like Tigers day games. And then I went to Central, fire up chips.
Fire up chips.
Yes.
I almost transferred there from Easter, by the way.
Yes. And what I did 3 internships in Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Arizona. So I know a little bit about the betting, but I sports betting, it's interesting seeing like the sports betting scene kind of grow here because it's a slippery slope, man. Those guys know way more than you do. Okay.
Oh yes, they do.
And it's for us anyways. And then I came back and I worked on the desk at the Free Press, the night shift, 8 a.m. to 2, sometimes 3, 4 in the morning.
Wow.
And I kind of just went around doing a bunch of other stuff like Pistons practices, Red Wings, Tigers, blah, blah. And then John Lowe, who is a future Spink Award winner. I was lucky enough to kind of learn from him over the years, and then I took over for him. And then I've been slowly declining ever since.
Oh, stop it!
This is what, year 6?
Yeah, for real. What was the moment like?
So I came in right when the Tigers started getting bad, which probably fits my mold a little bit with the.
Oh yes, it does, my friend. But for real, what was that moment like when you found out that you were taking over for Lowe? You were the main beat writer. I mean, that had to be a special day.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was absolutely cool because I do think that looking back, I mean, this was a dream job. You know what I mean? I grew up reading the Free Press. I kind of worked there my whole professional life. People have been very, very good to me there. Yeah, you're right. This is a charter member of the American League. One of the most historic franchises. You get to develop personal relationships with Al Kaline, Willie Horton. You know what I mean? Guys like that. And that's cool. And, over time, slowly it becomes a job. And, that stuff doesn't really faze you anymore. It's an interesting question. You got a couple good questions today because I haven't really thought of that. It wasn't really, It was really cool, though. Trust me. Yeah.
There's a reason I'm beloved.
Cool. It's been cool. It's been an awesome job.
There's a reason I'm beloved and also very humble. All right. I do want to say this, that, you won't say because you're humble yourself. And you're, by the way, one of the best dressed in the press box always. But you do
know what to do if I can keep wearing my shirt and tie to these.
I know.
I'll have to figure it out.
But let's be honest. Because
what I've been thinking about, DTM, I don't mean to cut you off, is
fine.
If I wear this shirt and tie and jacket and do the whole deal outside, A, that's just going to be way too hot, and B,
way too hot.
Then I'm just going to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? That's like.
But you're not doing it. You're not doing it to like make it. You already have done
that. It makes me feel like I'm a professional.
You are, but I want to say this and give you the praise you deserve. Yeah, beat writing for any sport is tough. It never ends. But to do it for baseball, which really never ends, now you have the winter meetings, the draft, and all this stuff, you do a hell of a job. 6 years, charter member American League. You're always on Twitter. You're always putting up good stories.
So Tigers did not sign Yasiel Puig. Breaking news.
Who did?
The Tigers did not sign Yasiel Puig.
It's probably a good thing. But I'm going to take my Motor City Hit Dogs hat off to you because you do a hell of a job, Anthony. You really do.
Motor City Hit Dogs. There we go.
I have a lot of respect for you. All right, I've got a
thank you. I appreciate that.
Quick thing from Derry here, and maybe he missed this earlier, so I'm going to do it again because asking you shall receive on the task force. He talked about the Riley Green catch. Has anyone posted it? Well, yeah, we opened the show with this because that's how we do it here on the task force.
He's going to be
watch this again.
I have a feeling that Deej has been drinking too many of the Anthony Fenech tweets because I said some sarcasm with that. But as you know, if you follow me on Twitter, the Tigers are unbeaten in inter-squad play. They even won today's live batting practice session.
Aren't they the only team?
Look at the way Crone hit that ball. Like
it's crazy, Billy. It's crazy. The whole play's crazy. To see that live, what was that catch like live?
I mean, I didn't expect it to come. Like I said, I was watching from beyond the dugout, the first base dugout. I didn't think it was. I don't know.
It's crazy.
It just happened. And I was like, wow.
And how do you feel about Shep having to call an inter-squad game? What the hell's that all about?
Oh, Shep's out there every day. Shep's out there asking questions. I mean, it could be a Game 7 of the World Series or an inter-squad game. You know, Shep's going to be into. That was a good call, too.
It was. It's crazy that we're calling inter-squad games now. But yeah, Shep like you is a
Hey,
some
the
of
people
the
want it.
men.
People want it.
They want it. All right, they want to hear.
want.
They want to hear this from you. We're going to call this. I've named this "Angling with Anthony," which I'm very excited about. Is that a call from Alvin?
Okay.
All right. I want to take you back to when you were a kid, the first athlete that you. When I say fall in love, I don't mean romantically, but the first athlete you fell in love with.
Probably Iserman.
That's can't ask for much more than that. He's a Mount Rushmore guy.
Yeah.
All right.
There's not that, and actually, when you think about it, all the moments have kind of blurred together over these last 10 or so years. But one that sticks out when you're like, hey, it was a cool moment. It was just like doing the whole video thing when he played at the Winter Classic, and I asked him a question. That was cool.
That's awesome. Now let's take it further. And who is your all-time favorite athlete?
Iserman.
Oh, interesting. I thought you were going another direction there.
No, Iserman. I was, but I thought of it now, and Iserman. Yeah.
People can only see our pre-show meeting.
I don't want to like reveal too much about, but Stevie Y has like it's Iserman. I
DJ'd Steve Iserman's Halloween party. I'm sorry, it was Gary McCarty's Halloween party at Big Daddy's on Northwestern in '97, the year they won the cup, and I danced with Iserman's wife. And Stevie Y has always been very nice to me. But he is incredible. When he was skating when they changed, they don't call it this. I mean, they still call it this. But when the Wings were in the Campbell Conference, and they finally beat the Blackhawks, and he was skating with the Campbell Conference trophy. I was in boarding school in California, and we didn't have live TV yet. This guy used to have a huge satellite, and he taped it for me. And I watched it like later that night, and I was crying. When he was skating around the ice with that Campbell trophy, after finally getting to the cup, they lost to the Devils. I was crying my eyes out.
Hey, I can watch these like old like Red Wings highlights. I'll cry, bro. I'll cry.
It's the best. You should have seen Darren McCarty was crying when we golfed earlier today because of how great I beat Rieger today. I'll get to that in a minute at the end of the show. All right, how about this? If you could only listen, let's say I know it's like so cheesy, but you're on an island. There's only one option for music.
Tom Petty.
Tom Petty. You know that so the other story, I feel like I'm just trying to say stupid stuff right now. Radio Row Super Bowl, I think it was Patriots Giants. Whatever the one they played at was. I interviewed all of the Heartbreakers, but no Tom Petty. Only NFL Network got Tom Petty. But I've seen them 3 or 4 times. They are just such an incredible band. I can't believe he's gone.
Tom Petty.
Good to be king. You're good to be king.
That might be that might be a regret in my life, not seeing him live. But yeah, Tom Petty.
Oh, well, I got some live shows we can watch together. I got some great
Ways to Be Wicked. Ways to Be Wicked's a really underrated song.
It definitely is. All right, let's talk about when it comes to movies. Is there? I'm not going to say just give me one, but give me 1, 2, or 3 of your all-time favorite movies. Are you a big movie guy?
No, I'm not.
All right, then just give me one. Give me
Godfather.
one movie you love.
Godfather.
The Godfather. You know,
all my friends are movie guys. I just played baseball and played baseball video games growing up. That's the easiest way to say it. In NHL, I just played Super Nintendo and N64 and pretty suburban America.
Little known fact.
Woodhaven. Let me remind you, on the streets of Woodhaven.
Were those mean streets, by the way?
No, they were mean streets. You go around there. You go around there saying you know Fenech, and you'll be well protected. Let me tell you.
You better. I mean, you're like a prince. Here's your nugget for Godfather. The Godfather 2 was wildly considered the first real sequel. There's been other part 2s and stuff, but that was the first kind of big sequel ever. So there you go. All right. How about if you could interview anybody sports-wise and they would tell you everything you asked them? They wouldn't placate you. They would say, next question. You can interview any athlete. Who would it be that you haven't yet?
Justin Verlander. Let's go to the next question. That's an easy one.
All right. Next question. All right, now.
Any questions? Oh, next question.
Anthony, I love you. If you could meet anybody, alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh.
I'd go with Lincoln or Shatner, FYI.
Oh my goodness.
Anybody.
Next question. Let me keep thinking about that. Does
All right,
Jesus
think about
count?
Yeah, Jesus. Listen, I'm Jewish, but he was the original Jew.
Go with Jesus.
Jesus definitely counts.
I think I could crack the case.
I think you could too. You know, they're doing a sequel. What? Go ahead.
Does he have to answer all my questions too?
Absolutely.
All right.
He's Jesus.
He would, honestly, of course. Anyways, keep going.
Yes. No, so they are making Passion of the Christ 2 with Jim Caviezel. It's coming out.
I'm still thinking of that. I feel like I took an easy way out, but keep going.
No, I think Jesus is good. Well, let me see it. I know we have some comments here. Erwin Fletcher says Kate Upton. I don't know who this Facebook user is saying Leach, I'm alive. This is proof. I didn't think anyone was dead. So now I got a couple more for you here. If you could, why is this not going away? There we go.
Jackie Robinson's one too.
That's a great one. That's a great one. If you could go back to any sporting moment that you weren't able to be at live, but you always wish you were, what would that be? For me, it'd be the 57 Lions title game. Or the Olympics in Atlanta with Ali.
I almost went to Verlander's first no-hitter, but my stepmom's mom, so my step-grandma, had just passed away. And I wasn't able to go. It was the viewing that night. That's not it, though. I don't know. I mean, I guess we can just go back to I don't know. I'd say maybe 84.
Sure.
Tigers winning the World Series.
Sure.
I have a lot of emotions over Tiger Stadium, and I think it would be really cool to see I never really saw Tiger Stadium when the Tigers were good or rocking kind of thing. That or the Wings. I'd say either the Wings winning the Cup in '97 or the game in. Honestly, this is an outside the box one, but the game in 2002, Game 7 when they scored 7 on Wah. That probably would have been a riot because
I was there. I was at that game.
Especially if you were over 21 or at least old enough to obtain alcohol going into the game, you probably would just, it would have been stress-free after the first period. And it's just every goal is a celebration. So that would have been pretty cool.
That's a great one. All right, last one for you with Angling with Anthony. You've done a great job so far, as you always do. All right, this is an interesting question. I love hearing the responses on this. You cover a lot of stuff. I know you mentioned going back, answering the phones of the Free Press. But what was the game, or maybe it was an event or something else if it wasn't baseball, that was by far, when you think about it, the experience that meant the most for you to cover? As a working journalist.
Gosh.
I told you I asked the great questions, man.
Here's one. And I think it's easy. Last year, last August, Jay Allen, the former Tigers public address announcer, he had been diagnosed with bile duct cancer. And I went over and I talked with him after one of the games. That was just it was very impactful because I take a lot for granted in my life, and I think a lot is, you know what I mean? I think I have a lot of hardships that aren't very hard, and I thought that for somebody who was basically had been told that he wasn't going to live for that long, to have the kind of grace that he had, that was impactful for me, and I still think about it. And yeah, I guess that might be the only one. I guess I kind of interpreted your question as what did you do that kind of
no, that's you, Anthony. That's an A+.
Yeah, and that would probably be it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of anything else, but that just.
But if people want to see that, all you got to do is search Jay, your name, and then
yes.
Yeah, they can find that article. It was beautiful. I remember I retweeted it, so go on my Twitter or whatever. All right, before we go, we always do this. Thanks so much, Anthony. You're the best. It really is great seeing you.
This is fun. This is a lot of fun, especially the Angling with Anthony.
Yes, we'll do it again as the season goes on. All right, so we always do this on the task force. We show we're all at home, so you're at least at the park right now. We show an interesting house item. What do you got for us to impress the masses out there in your, as you call it, home studio office?
I have a lot.
That lamp looks pretty cool back there. I want to see the lamp.
Which one? That no, it's just a boring lamp. And if you see right here, one sec. How do I? Right there.
Yeah.
That's just a stack of newspapers that my lovely mother, she just keeps, and she keeps all my articles. It's
All
really
your bylines? That's awesome.
It means a lot to me. I guess I would go with this because I have a lot of books here, and like there's a book from Tom Gage. There's a lot of books. There's a new 2020 Tigers media guide. I have like pretty much all of my yearbooks here, so I can show you all the comments I used to get. But I have this sitting right here, and I've always kept it around. I'll put it on here.
Is that your poker dealer hat?
From, CMU journalism professor Ron Marmarelli, and he was a really good journalism teacher, and he was really cool. He made an impact on me, and yeah, he died maybe last year, the year before that. But I guess that's what I want to, since we're on the task force and we have trillions of people watching us, I guess the memory of Marm can carry on. But he was a good dude, a very good journalism teacher, and I appreciated the kind of guidance he showed me. So I kind of just keep it here because I've always had it, and it's like, it reminds me of Marm. Look at this mane I got, but it reminds you of Marm, and you can always hang it somewhere, put it around something. So I just figure I'll keep it around me. So that's what I got for you.
By the way, we're always upfront and honest here on the task force. It's not trillions, it's billions that are watching the task force. Don't belittle the task force crowd. They are a very hardy bunch, my friend.
All right.
So,
and when you have such a distinguished journalist as myself, you have to be right with the facts, right?
You do. All right. I think you'll love this because you got to deal with this wacko all the time. Now, I love him. This is the scorecard for today where I beat Jeff Rieger. I beat Jeff Rieger on both nines. I shot an even 100, and me and Lesson tied him and Darren McCarney. But Rieger, who talks a ton of smack and loves losing money, he lost both nines. I will give him credit. He was down 3 with 5 to go, Anthony, on the back 9. And I was really in his hand. I was crushing him, and he couldn't do anything right. But then he started swearing as loud as he possibly could.
And guess what
it was? Yeah, guess what it was at Dearborn Country Club today? Kids Day. So, by the way, after that, you would think the card would be bad for him. He actually cut the lead to even, and I beat him on the last hole. But that's my house item of the day. And I didn't give Rieger too much crap tonight.
Well, I'm very fond of Riggs, but I will say this because I feel like, look, I don't think he's very good at golf. I think he likes to talk a lot, clearly. But since he's and I don't know if that scorecard is in the public domain. I don't know if but I have to at least defend him and say that he's beating you in hair, though, right now, isn't he?
He's beating me, but not by much. But he's definitely beating me. That's for sure.
Wait, did he cut his hair?
No. He looks like you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like it.
You guys have similar surfer haircuts.
It's a good look. It's a good look.
I think you look great. All right, Anthony, you're the best, my friend.
Yeah, man, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Give everyone out there parting shots, anything you want to say.
Thanks for watching. Me and DTM always doing it up. Let's see what else. Summer camp. Keep in tune. Anthony Fenech on Twitter, Freep Sports for summer camp. We will be here for the next 6 or 7 days, and then I will be wearing my mask into Ohio like I've been doing for years. That's the parting shot, DTM.
You're the best. By the way, we'll do this again, later on in the season. As I always say, first I want to thank all our sponsors, Amwager.com, Thomas McGee Sporting House, of course, our great friends, Michigan's finest cannabis company. Anthony, you remember the promos, right?
I do. It is DTM 420 and Task Force. Get on there.
Yes, and a special edition Task Force horse racing show tomorrow at 8 with lots of bonuses. But as I always like to say, spread love, not hate. Wash your hands. Be safe. Follow Anthony Fenech on Twitter. And maybe we'll have a Tigers miracle season, my buddy.
Wear a mask. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. I got my mask. I got 3 down here. And I got one for Rieger's aunt. Anthony, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, it's been fun. See you guys.
That's going to do it for Anthony Fenech. I'm Dan Leach. Enjoy the night. Be safe. We'll see you next time on the Task Force.